Alright, there we go.
Okay, the cornbread dressing recipe that I just described is a Texas recipe. It's made in Austin. It's made all the way to East Texas and all the way to West Texas. And the reason the rice is in there is because, well, we grow rice in East Texas, and it lightens up the cornbread dressing. And the white bread slices that I described, it's important not to be whole wheat bread because that also lightens up the recipe. Now I'm going to talk about pie crusts, and I'll give you the recipe for the pumpkin pie crusts first. This is actually a pie crust for any pie. You take 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour. It can be bleached or unbleached. You take 1 teaspoon of white sugar and 1 teaspoon of salt, and you stir it all up together. When you portion out the flour, it's got to be light and fluffy again. So if you have a sack of flour, stir it up a little bit and then spoon it into your measuring device so that you don't get packed flour in there. And you're going to add 1 cup of solid vegetable shortening. Now that can be, what I do is I use a cup of butter flavored shortening, or a half a cup of butter flavored shortening, and a stick of butter, and that makes the flavor really pronounced in the pie crust. When you incorporate it, you need to cut the butter and the shortening into the flour. You can do it with 2 butter knives in a crisscross manner. Or you can get a pastry cutter which has 5 little blades all lined up, and you do it in this motion all the way through. Then you take your hand. You have to have a light, cool hand, not a heavy, hot hand. A light, cool pastry hand. And you just incorporate all of the flour and crumbs together. When it's nice and soft and incorporated, you put it in the refrigerator, leave it there for 2 hours, then you get it out. Take 2 pieces of wax paper that are bigger than you think they're going to be, and a heavy rolling pin with roller bars, like that. And you put half of your dough into a patty, kind of nice and plump, right in the middle. Squish it down with your hand, put the wax paper on top of it. You can flour the wax paper, but don't dump the whole flour bit in there. And you put the rolling pin in the middle, and with a gentle motion, you start rolling out in 360 degrees, right and left, east and west, north and south, until you have something that's about this thick. Stop, carefully peel off the wax paper. Have your pie plate there. Up in the other piece of wax paper, either into the pie plate or into your hand. Katie, your hand is not big enough. Tommy, your hand might be big enough. You can put it on the plate, gently peel off the wax paper. If it's gotten soft and tacky, if you still have 87 degrees in Florida while you're doing this, after you've rolled it out, stick it in the fridge or the freezer. That'll make it easier to pull off the wax papers. Then you put it into your pie plate. I like ceramic pie plates or glass pie plates. And crimp the edges, press it down, you know how to do it. That's your pie crust. With the pie that you're making, which is a pumpkin pie, you do not pre-cook the pie crust. So what you're going to have to do is take the white of an egg, beat it up with just a tiny amount of water, just a drop or 2, and spread it over that pie crust so that the milk in your pumpkin pie will not seep into the pie crust and make it soggy. And then if you want to cheat a little bit, stick it in a 400-degree oven for 3 or 4 minutes. Then pull it out. Pour in your pie crust pour in your pumpkin pie filling, and go ahead and bake it. That's it.
How long do you bake it?
Oh, I haven't gotten to the pumpkin pie recipe yet. How many more minutes do I have?
Just keep going.
Oh, keep going? Okay. Did you get a photograph of this pumpkin pie recipe?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this pumpkin pie recipe is for 2 pies. And if it's you and Tommy only, then you just need one. There's no way around that. But if there's anybody else around, this pie keeps for 2 days and they'll eat it. You keep it in the refrigerator. So what you do is get 3 eggs, not little ones, and you get one 26.5 ounce can of solid pack pumpkin. Now you can also get 2 of the smaller cans of solid pack pumpkin. Do not get the pumpkin pie mix. You put in then 1 1/4 cups of sugar, 1/3 cup of dark brown sugar, half a teaspoon of salt, 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, and get the good cinnamon, and 1 teaspoon of ground ginger, and that just means the ginger like that you get, in the bottle spice next to the cinnamon. And it also calls for a half a teaspoon of ground cloves, and actually those are kind of necessary. So then you mix all that up, beat the eggs, put all these spices in with the sugar and the pumpkin, beat it all up, and then you're going to put in 1 1/4 cup plus 2 tablespoons of whole milk. It will not do to have low-fat milk in this recipe. And then you put in 1 cup plus 2 tablespoons of evaporated milk, not condensed milk, evaporated milk. And you mix all that up. All you do is pour it in your 2 pie crusts, put it in an oven at 375 degrees and bake for 75 minutes. Or maybe check it like it's 65 minutes, because I don't know how hot your oven is. At 65 minutes, when you pull out the edge of the pie from the oven, if you shake it a little bit and the inside kind of reverberates with your shake, it's not done. If it doesn't reverberate, then put a silver knife in there. If it comes out fairly clean, it's done. So,
You mean if it doesn't jiggle? Jiggle's a better word, huh?
Yeah, I guess jiggle is a better word.
Okay. If it doesn't jiggle, it's done.
Yeah. And that makes a really good pie. And if you get some homemade vanilla bluebell ice cream, that will go good with it. If you don't have that, get some real cream, whip it up with some sugar and vanilla. And have a happy Christmas. Your hand was in front of